Hey guys, today we are going to be reviewing writing and graphing inequalities. I actually copied the table right here. This is the table from your textbook, and we also in class took down notes of the 4 new inequality symbols, or 2 new, but 4 total, that we are going to be using. And then these are all of like the keywords and word phrases that are used for those. So if you don't have those notes at home, I suggest that you pause the video and copy these down, because you are going to need to know those keywords for your test that is on Monday. Today is going to be the last skill that we are reviewing for your test, and then tomorrow we're going to play a quizzes live game. I will put the code on your classroom right before the game starts, and I'll leave the window open like 10 minutes maybe, and then once the 10 minutes is up, we're going to start the game. And your games are going to be at either 9 a.m. or 2 p.m. Whatever works best for you, you can log in and we'll see how many people that we get. So just a review of inequalities. So an inequality is a mathematical sentence that shows the relationship between quantities that are not equal. So I have some examples here for you. So x is greater than 4. It could be y is less than 6. M is less than or equal to 9. Or t is greater than or equal to 3. So all of those are examples of inequalities. But then a solution of an inequality is just like a solution to an equation. So a solution to an inequality that contains a variable is any value of the variable that makes the inequality true. So unlike equations that only have one solution, inequalities have many, many different solutions. So if I give you the inequality x is less than 4, it has many, many solutions. So some examples of solutions could be 3, because 3 is less than 4, or 2, 1, 0, -5, -10, and I can actually go on forever and ever listing numbers that are solutions to that inequality. So then when it comes to writing inequalities from word phrases, the words are going to tell you what or how you write it. So number 1, the elevation E is greater than or equal to 15 meters. So I know that the elevation is E. We don't know what it is, but we do know that the elevation is greater than or equal. So we're going to use the greater than or equal to symbol, 15 meters. So it would be E is greater than or equal to 15. Number 2, a passenger's age A, so the age is A, we don't know what it is, must be more than 4 years. So the age needs to be greater than 4. Number 3, the score S, so we don't know the score, so the score is S, in a basketball game is greater than or equal to 10 points. So the score is greater than or equal to 10. The mass, M, is less than 5 kilograms. So therefore the mass, which is M, must be less than 5. The weight of the package is at least, there's at least, we got to figure out what at least means, 2.5 pounds. So they don't give us a variable in this situation, so this is when you come up with your own. So we're talking about a weight, so I'm going to say W. And we know that the weight is at least 2.5 pounds. If we would go back to this table and find at least, right here, you want to use the greater than or less than symbol. So you kind of have to think about it as at least means that's the lowest it could be. So it has to either be 2.5 or it has to be greater than. So the weight is greater than or equal to 2.5. And then number 6, you can bring at most 6 dogs to the party. So we're talking about dogs here, so I'm going to use the variable D. And at most, if you would scroll back up, at most would actually be the less than or equal to symbol. And I like to think of at most as that's the greatest number. So you could bring 6 or you could bring less. So it's less than or equal to 6. So that's how you go about writing the inequalities. If they would give you a word problem, which there will be one on the test on Monday. So the highest temperature ever recorded at the South Pole was 8 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's the highest temperature, was 8. Write an inequality to show that the temperature T in degrees Fahrenheit at the South Pole is less than or equal to 8 degrees Fahrenheit. So we know that the highest temperature was 8 degrees. So therefore the temperature either had to be 8 or it had to be less. So that's why we're going to use the less than or equal to symbol. So the temperature T was less than or equal to 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Tabby's mom says that she must read for at least 30 minutes each night. So at least 30 minutes each night. If M represents the number of minutes reading, what inequality can represent this situation? So here are these complicated words again, at least. We know that we're talking about M, or the number of minutes that Tabby is reading, but she needs to read at least 30 minutes each night. So if you want to look back at the table to figure out what sign that you need to use, go for it. But I like to think of at least is that's the lowest. So the smallest number of minutes that Tabby can read each night is 30. So she either has to read 30 or she needs to read more than or greater than 30 minutes a night. So it's going to be the greater than or equal to symbol. And then M is greater than or equal to 30, and you can even add the label if you would like. Okay? So I would like you to try these 4 right now. I want you to pause the video, and I want you to try to match each word phrase to its inequality. Okay, you don't have to do it on paper, but if you want to just kind of do it in your head, that would be fine. But so pause and try this on your own, please, and then I'll give you the answers. So Walter sold more than 10 tickets. So more than would be the greater than symbol. So we're doing X is greater than 10. So fewer than 10 children are at the party. So fewer than is the less than symbol. So this one would go to X is less than 10. No more than 10 people can be seated at the table. So no more than is actually less than or equal to 10 because more than 10 people can't sit there. It has to be 10 or less. So I would match that one to this one. And hopefully this one is the last one. At least 10 people need to sign up for the class. So at least means greater than or equal to. So this would go to X is greater than or equal to 10. So when it comes to graphing inequalities, we talked about the 2 different dots. So if you use an open dot, this has to be the greater than or the less than symbol. But then you also have a closed dot, and that would be the greater than or equal to or less than or equal to symbols. It all depends on if it's equal to or not. It's closed if it could be equal. So if I'm graphing these inequalities, I'm going to start with X is greater than 1. You always put your dot at the number value that they give you, and since it's just greater than, we're going to do an open dot, and we're going to put the open dot at 1. So we want values that are greater than 1. So draw the arrow towards all of the values that are greater than 1. X is greater than or equal to -4. So we want to find -4 in our graph, which is right here. And then we want to put a closed dot because it's greater than or potentially equal to. So we're going to put a closed dot at -4. And we want values that are greater than or equal to. So arrow is going to go this way to all the values that are greater than. So next one, S is less than 6. So we're going to find 6 on our number line, which is right here. And it's going to be an open dot because it's just less than, not equal to. And we want to draw the arrow into the values that are all less than 6. So we're going to go to the left. And then last one, t is less than or equal to -1. So it could be equal to, so we're going to be a closed dot, and it's going to be at -1. And we want values that are less than or equal to it. So we want to point to the values that are less than or go to the left. Okay. So here are 4 more. I would like you to pause the video and kind of try to figure out what would you do for all 4 of these. If you want to try them in your notebook and draw the number line, go for it, but you do not have to. So x is less than or equal to 4. Closed dot, pointed to the left. X is greater than 3. Open dot, pointed to the right. S is less than -2. So open dot, and it's less than, so go to the left. And t is greater than or equal to -1. Closed dot, greater than to the right. And last skill for today are writing the inequalities. So we're going to go in reverse from what we just did. So I always use x as my variable. You do not need to use x. You can use any letter that you want. So for the first one, x is going to be my variable and 9 is the number. So then I need to figure out the sign. So it's pointing to values that are less than 9 and it's open. So it's just going to be the less than symbol. Same thing for the next one. I'm going to use x and the dot is at 7. So it's a closed dot, so I know it could be equal to, and it's pointing to values that are greater than 7. So it is the greater than or equal to sign. Next one, x and 0 is where the dot is. So it's open, so it cannot be equal, and it's pointing to values that are greater than, so it is just the greater than sign. And then last one on the page, x is the variable and the dot is at 5. The dot is closed, so it could be equal to, and the arrow is pointing towards the values that are less than 5. So it is less than or equal to 5. Okay? 4 more. This is where I want you to kind of pause and try to come up with the inequality on your own as well, and then you can check back to see what answers I got. Okay, so this one would be x is less than 4. This one would be x is greater than or equal to -4. This one would be x is greater than 6. And the last one would be x is less than or equal to -2. Okay. So for practice today, you are to complete the 11.4 homework on inequalities on the online textbook program. So go into Clever, clicking on the My HRW tile, and then you should see the assignments at the bottom of your screen. If you did not do 11.1 yet, that will also be there for you to do. Both of those are due at the end of this week. So you need to click Turn It In at the bottom. If you don't click Turn It In, it does not come up as finished. So please make sure both of those are done and they disappear once you turn them in. So there should not be any assignments there after this week. If you have any questions or you can't find those assignments, please email me. That's what I'm here for.